I was kind of being enabled. I was kind of being enabled to continue the pattern because there was a payoff for me. And that was... Hey everyone, Cheryl here. Welcome back to my YouTube machine. How are you all doing? Are you all right? So this week I wanted to talk about something, and I haven't really explicitly said this before with regards to our relationship patterns and our dating drama. There is one thing that can keep us stuck in it. And I know I always talk about what's your pattern, where did it come from, how do you heal it, which is to say that we look at our childhood, we look at our relationship with our mother, with our father, with all of the major male relatives in our lives, or female relatives, depending on who you date, what your sexuality is, how you identify, etc. And that is really at the core of what I do. However, there is one thing that if we don't address it, our relationship patterns will still continue even when we've done that work, and it's this. It's that often our relationship patterns are meeting a need that we have. And that might sound a little bit next level. You're like, well, why would I have these patterns that are really painful and that keep me stuck and don't get me moving forward? Why would I have those patterns and say that it meets a need? Like, it doesn't make sense because it's not what I want. It's not where I want to be. So what's all that about? So a few videos ago, I explained the 6 different dating drama archetypes, and they're really the most common types of relationship patterns. So I'll put the link down below in the description up top, so you can see that and go back and look at some of those relationship patterns for reference. And I'm going to take out one of those patterns, one of those archetypes, and that is Miss Fantasy Relationship, or Mr. Fantasy Relationship if you're watching this and you're a guy. Miss Fantasy Relationship, what she does, this is the pattern. She starts mentally dating people. And what mentally dating is when you like someone or you have a crush on someone. Like, for example, last week we talked about celebrity crushes. You have a crush on them and then you start kind of daydreaming about this person. So let's say there's this person that you've just been on a date with, or this person at work that you kind of have a crush on, and you start thinking about them all the time. You imagine what it'd be like to, go on holiday with them and be in a relationship with them, and what you do at the weekend, or I don't know, all of those things. You start really thinking about that, and you start future tripping about your life together. And I know this might sound really far out, but I know you're my people, and I know that you get this, and I know that you've done this, or you are doing this now. And it can feel like I'm getting this image of like a train hurtling down the tracks, and that's a little bit what it can feel like. It can feel like a runaway train, and we can't do a lot to stop it. And the reason why we're doing that, the reason why that pattern exists, is because it is meeting our need of intimacy. So if you think about that, if you think about daydreaming about someone that you like, and fantasizing about being in a relationship with them, or just thinking about them all the time and kind of daydreaming and putting yourself there, what that actually does is that brings up a lot of the emotions and the feelings in your body that you would actually have if you were in a relationship. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that we would do that, we would find a way to evoke those feelings of being in a relationship. So being really happy, really excited, the feelings of butterflies in the stomach, the feeling of being really loved up and glowy, right? We found a way to meet that need without any of the quote unquote, air quotes, risk of intimacy. So sometimes if we have a fear of intimacy, which is a fear of getting close, and a fear of letting people in, and or if we have a fear of engulfment, meaning we're afraid of being swallowed up whole by the relationship. Incidentally, this has a lot to do with attachment styles, which I won't go into. If we have both of those fears, we're afraid of getting close, we're afraid of getting engulfed, we're afraid of being close to someone. We feel that that's risky. But of course we're human, so we still want the feelings of being close. We still want that warmth and that love, and so we find another way to meet that need. I've been seeing this a lot in film and TV recently. There's a lot of characters that have come up in the past couple of years who have this kind of archetype of being a bit of a lone wolf, but then having kind of fantasies about their life being different, and having these kind of daydreams about being with someone, and then that's not really the case. So it's one of those things of like life imitating art and art imitating life. It's both. Basically, in conclusion, what I would love for you to do is to take a look at your relationship pattern. So you can watch the video on dating drama archetypes if that helps you, and look at what your pattern is, and get really curious about what needs that's meeting within you. So one way that you can do that is to simply journal on, how does this pattern make me feel? How do I feel when I'm in it? So if you are another pattern, so Miss Drama, for example, like your dating life's always dramatic, like it's always a whole thing. There's a situation, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened. Let me tell you all about it. And then your friend's there with a glass of wine, and 3 hours later, you're still fucking talking about the same thing. And even if it wasn't the same thing, it's the same pattern that you follow every time. So yes, the person might be different, but the pattern is the same. It's the same pattern of, let me sit down and talk with a friend about how dramatic my relationships are. So in that situation, what need could that be meeting? How do you think you would feel if you were that person who was on the receiving end of your friend's empathy, of your friend's time, of your friend's attention, you being the center of attention for such a long amount of time? You would feel pretty good, right? And so if that was lacking in some other area of your life, if you were lacking people seeing you, if you felt kind of unseen, if you felt like you needed people to see you and to hear you and to validate you and care for you and support you, going through these really painful patterns in love and making it a big drama is actually a way to get that need met, right? Because you make it then all about you. And so of course people are always rushing to your aid because you like the attention, right? It's not going to be true for everyone. So don't send me hate mail. I mean, you can if you want. It's a free country. But if I'm really honest, when I look back at a lot of the painful patterns I had in love, when I was being comforted by people that I cared about, by my friends, it was one of the times when I felt the most loved. And I'm actually just articulating it in that way as I'm thinking about it now. Because I had and always have had some really, really beautiful friends in my life. I've always been really fortunate and really blessed with that. Sometimes relationship patterns can morph in different areas of our life, but for me with friendships, I've always been really golden in that area, and I feel really fortunate. But those friends, you know, I mean, very patient people would listen to me and comfort me, and you know, it was really a beautiful, generous thing of them. But I look back and I'm like, you know, I was kind of being enabled. I was kind of being enabled to continue the pattern because there was a payoff for me. And that was, you know, people say, no, I'll get us a bottle of wine. And I mean, I'm sober now, not the point. I'll get us a bottle of wine in, we'll get some food, we'll stay in together. Like it was actually creating a lot of intimacy, which is really what I was craving, right? So get really curious about how it is you feel when you're in that pattern, and what is the payoff? What is the payoff? What is the need that's being met? Like I said, it's not going to be the case every time, right? I don't want to say, oh, someone's in a painful pattern, so they're doing it on purpose to meet a need. That's not exactly what I'm saying. But sometimes that is the case, right? If we're really honest with ourselves, we're like, oh, actually, I really like the attention, or I really like the feeling when I'm daydreaming about this person. It actually feels a lot less risky, right? Do watch the videos in the links down below on I think the celebrity crush one and the dating drama archetypes one are probably the two most pertinent ones with regards to this message. So that is definitely something that will help you to really get unstuck from these patterns, even when you've done that deep inner work of where does it come from. You will find then that sometimes you'll slip back into a pattern if it's a way of getting a need met. So then the next step of that, of course, is how can I get that need met in a healthy way? How can I get that need met in a healthy way? I'll put those journaling prompts down below in the description as well, so you can just see sequentially how to work through it. I hope that helps you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.